I'm Michael Spencer here with CBS Colorado sports anchor Eric Christensen. Eric, Monday was a tough day down at Broncos headquarters, especially in that wide receiver room.
You know, it was the first day of pads, but being in pads really had nothing to do with Tim Patrick's injury. It was a non-contact injury. It was a play that Sean Payton said he had corrected Patrick on. He kind of slipped, went down. You sort of heard him yell, and it was a torn Achilles, and now he's going to miss his second straight season, which is really devastating for that wide receivers room and really devastating for the team. I get the sense that Tim Patrick's kind of a leader on that team, brings a little bit of an edge to that wide receiver room especially, and now for the second straight year, he's not going to be there.
Well, and everybody on that team, whether you're in the wide receiver room or not, knew how hard Tim Patrick was working to get back out onto the field after last year's ACL injury. Everybody in that room is a Tim Patrick fan and was rooting for him. That obviously a big, big blow. That's a blow in and of itself. And then you add in what's going on with KJ Hamler. What do we know about that situation?
He has a heart irritation. He was feeling pains in his chest before camp, and now he got his diagnosis back, and it's a heart irritation. And he says he's going to take some time off. He's going to deal with this issue, and then he hopes to return to football. The Broncos, in a procedural move, have waived KJ Hamler. And obviously, they want the roster spot. So I don't know when and if he returns to football. Will it be with Denver? Will it be with someone else? That remains to be seen. But he, too, is at least out for the significant period. It sounds like he might be a free agent when he returns.
So those are some guys that you expected to be on the roster in terms of, usually a team carries 5, maybe 6 wide receivers. You know about Jerry Jeudy, you know about Cortland Sutton, obviously Marvin Mims, but this wide receiver room was a position of depth, and now all of a sudden it's not. How do you think this affects them moving forward?
Well, I think it's a big deal because we had Orlando Franklin on Xfinity Monday Live a couple weeks ago, and he thought the wide receiver room was such a room of strength that he thought maybe at some point during camp they might look to trade somebody out of that room to try to maybe get more depth on the D-line or another place where they might feel they were a little weak. And so now, I don't know, without Hamler, without Patrick, you don't have that luxury. Now this doesn't appear to at least be a deep room anymore. We'll see how many lives a guy like Kendall Hinton has.
Yeah.
He's won over 2 coaching staffs. Can he win over a third? Brandon Johnson flashed a little bit last year, catching a touchdown in that Carolina game. What's he look like this year? Sean Payton's brought over 2 guys from New Orleans, little Jordan Humphrey and Marquez Callaway. Callaway caught 80-some passes in his 3 years in New Orleans. So there are some pieces there. There are some pieces that Sean Payton's familiar with. And there are some guys who have been around this team for a while, but they've got to prove it now to a new coaching staff.
Sean Payton and George Payton certainly have their work cut out for them as they go about crafting this Broncos roster. That first preseason game coming up August 11th